Everyone, in this video I'd like to talk about the fact that the world is not real. And I know that you have heard that before, but I'm particularly focusing on source players. Source players are at different levels of awakening. And I no longer want to take it for granted that all source players are at the same level or they have awoken to whatever level. So 2 days ago, a source player shared some information with me that I shared on the last source message 4. It was called the message for source players, part 4, the Grand Dragon, Lucifer, and source players. That was message 4. Message to source players, message 4. That information is helpful. And so last night I was trying to understand. I know that things the information we've gotten over time, whether it's through religion or science and stories, it's all jumbled up and bits and pieces are true, and I really don't know what to believe sometimes. And I've been checking out other people's websites. I pay attention to books and so forth, but I really have to know for myself. I don't want to believe or think it's right or it's wrong. I want to know. So last night I was doing a visualization. I wanted to figure out who this Lucifer character is. And I just said I got myself in trouble. Luckily, I was shielded by my source consciousness. Nothing can come through the ether and pass through. So I managed to be okay. But it was the blockage inside that used that against me. But that's where this video comes in, where we're going to talk about the nature of reality, the fact that it isn't real, dreams. So before we talk about dreams, I wrote this down, so I'll read this in terms of physicality. There are no physical things. It's static, persistent perception. It's a static, persistent perception. The United States of America, Africa, San Luis Potosi, none of it exists. It's not real. It's only light frequencies. What we are perceiving as physicality is only light frequencies in a static form and condensed energy. It is that condensation of energy that we are calling physicality, or less lucid worlds, because we're talking about the whole entire universe. And the universe, as some of you, or hopefully most of you know, is not infinite. The universe is finite. The universe is like an oval, a circular, giant space in the middle of infinite space. So there is such thing as infinite space, but the universe, which all things exist, is not infinite. I've spoken about that before, from personal experience, many personal experiences. So our entire whole life or lives has been a fraud, a make-believe. I remember when I first watched The Matrix, the first movie, I remember asking myself if that could be applied to the real world, or rather the world in which I lived. And it didn't seem to match. And it was because our neurons were set in a certain way. I'll come back to that. So let's begin with our senses. There are 5 senses, correct? We have 5 senses. The sense of sight, smell, hearing, touch, taste. In the physical world, in the real world, we are able to smell. If somebody passes gas, you can smell it. Bad example. Touch, taste, right? And we'll go back to the dream level analysis later. Sights is obvious in either form, dream versus reality. It's focused on reality. In the physical world, it's easy to feel the heaviness, the weight of something, right? How heavy is an object? How heavy is your thoughts? Your thoughts can weigh you down too. Why? How is it that we can experience these things in the physical world? If you imagine your mind, your brain here as a being of light, which it is, you just think that your brain is a physical thing. It's just a condensed form of light that's not moving, not going anywhere, so it seems like it's physical. Our frequencies are lined up to think that it's physical. Right? So our neurons are set in a certain way unless we begin to fast. And in that case, fasting, changing our diet, we become literally smarter by clearing the blockages, whatever form they're in. And so we're able to make other connections easier. So this is the reason why, to be able to know whether or not the world is real or not, it has to come from the inside. And as a source player, I'm concerned for the source players. I'm focusing on the source players. It's very important that you wake up, because that is your job here. Your job is to wake people up. That's what you signed up for. So, in the physical world, or rather just i.e. in reality, we are able to tap into our senses, the 5 senses that we have. So, question for you. This is my connection to you. So these senses make reality real, our physical world real, or even if it were less physical, but it was fluid, somewhat fluid, that makes it real. The senses make it real. Well, if our senses, the 5 senses that we have in human parlance, to be able to perceive something as heavy or light, are what makes our world real, then how about our dreams? Some people are not able to touch. No, they touch. Some people are not able to feel. They can see. They can't differentiate between heaviness. Some people are not able to taste in their dreams. So if they have a glass of water, let's say, or an apple juice, let's give it some sugar, if they have some apple juice or they eat an apple, they're not able to taste it in their dreams. But some people are able to taste such things, food, in their dreams. Now, when I was young, I wasn't able to make the connection. When I woke up, that's when I made the connection. So, I personally can taste in my dream. I can feel in my dream. All my senses are alive in my dreams. Dream slash and the non-physical. So the question is, then what is the difference between reality and dreams? If you can perceive exactly, if you can in dreams, if you can perceive yourself as a physical thing in these dreams, you perceive yourself having a physical body. It feels physical in your body. It feels like you're 5'8" tall. It feels like you're whatever in your dreams. In the dreams or in the non-physical, then what is the difference between reality and dreams? Well, all I have to say is not everything is made up. You can't make everything up in dreams. The truth is, reality is merely a static and immobile, very dense energy of light. We are light. That's all it is. So, dreams, most of these people who think they're just merely making things up in a sleep state, think again. So last night when I made a mistake, which I don't want to get into, but I learned quite a bit from it, I was having a discussion with part of the blockage inside, and I knew he was lying. He was trying to deny the fact that I knew that our very conversation, I told him, the very conversation we're having right now doesn't exist in the way we are perceiving it. It's only lights and communicating with each other. I said, I need you to scream at me or pinch me or punch me. I need to wake up. Something else happened earlier that I needed to wake up from. But this was the enemy to which I was speaking, so it didn't help. But I woke up anyhow on my bed, and I was like, thank God, got out of there. So in the dream state, I can feel my physicality. I can feel just like I'm feeling right now, sitting in this chair, talking to you. So this is how the whole matrix is designed. The entire matrix is basically playing with our senses. If it happens in dreams and it happens in physicality, you know that there's more to the story. So, conclusion. I wrote down a conclusion. I wrote down, from this perspective, it should be easy to understand why we have make-believe, such as the bombardment of social programming we get on the mainstream news and now the so-called alternative media. Because they're trying to get us to see things in a certain way for a slowdown. Bureaucracy. You can't do this. It might take 5 years for this to happen. That's a slowdown of what is possible, right? Now when they're talking about not having sex with the COVID-19. Oh, God. So this is how the whole matrix, I don't know the details, but this is part of how the setup is. And as a source player, I hope that this information helps a little bit to jog your memory about how the game is played, because the information is going to be vital for you to be able to protect yourself and to help others. Now, let's see. There's something else that I'm missing. Oh well. Well, if I remember, I'll bring it up in another. Okay. I remember. Um, so last night, when I was trying to understand who Lucifer was, and by visualizing Lucifer, and the blockage inside used it against me, and I understood how a little bit more how the game is played. I understood how frequencies can be magnified. Somebody can seem to put a voice in your head, but they're not really. That person isn't really in your head. The person is just magnifying the sound, like pressing a button on a for a remote control on a remote control for the TV to in order to augment the audio or the volume. So it's quite interesting. If someone had told me that my whole entire life has been a lie, and now you know what I'm beginning to wonder. What is the point of like even arguing with people or trying to explain things to them when they don't want to hear it? Well, maybe that'll help me improve overall as a light being. Good luck on your journey back to source consciousness.